Now, Miss Brodie, do you know what this is?
It appears to be a scrap of paper.
It is in fact a letter. It was found by the librarian concealed between the pages of a book. He glanced at it and said after the first sentence he dared not to actually read it. He brought it instantly to me.
Is it addressed to you?
No, it is addressed to Mr. Lowther. I propose to read it to you.
Should you, Miss McKay? If it is addressed to Mr. Lowther,
It is signed by you. Of course, I realize it is a forgery. It's a work of a child. I shall begin.
please do.
My dear, delightful Gordon, your letter has moved me deeply, as you may imagine, but alas, I must ever decline to being Mrs. Lowther. My reasons are twofold. I am dedicated to my girls, as is Madame Pavlova, and there is another in my life. He is Teddy Lloyd. Intimacy has never taken place with him. He is married to another. We are not lovers, but we know the truth. However, I was proud of giving myself to you when you came and took me in the bracken while the storm raged about us. If I am in a certain condition, I shall place the infant in the care of a worthy shepherd and his wife. I may permit misconduct to occur again from time to time as an outlet because I am in my prime. We can also have many a breezy day in the fishing boat at sea. We must keep a sharp lookout, however, for Miss McKay, as she is rather narrow, which arises from an ignorance of culture in the Italian scene. I love to hear you singing, "Hey Johnny Cope," but were I to receive a proposal of marriage tomorrow from the Lord Lion, King of Arms, I would decline it. Allow me in conclusion to congratulate you warmly on your sexual intercourse as well as your singing. With fondest joy, Jean Brodie. Is this what your girls, your set, has learned in your classroom, Miss Brodie?
A literary collaboration. Two separate sets of hands involved. One slants the tail ends of their consonants in an unorthodox manner, and the other does not. And judging by the age and condition of the paper, it must have been in the greenhouse for quite some time.
Is that all you have to say?
What else is there to say? Two girls in an age of budding sexual fantasy concoct a romance for themselves and choose me as a romantic symbol. Is that so hard to believe?
Do you deny that you encourage these fantasies, as you call them? Do you deny that by consorting openly with Mr. Lowther, you lead these children into the most fevered conclusions? Not only Mr. Lowther, but Mr. Lloyd is brought into the circle of fire. Mr. Lloyd, who has a wife and 6 children. It is diabolical that infants should be knowledgeable.
11-year-old girls are not infants, Miss McKay.
How do you know that they are 11?
From the vocabulary, the handwriting, and the very rudimentary knowledge of the facts of life. Surely you cannot believe that this was the work of 9-year-olds.
I could easily believe this is the work of your 9-year-olds. In view of the age and condition of the paper, I'll grant that it was probably composed some time ago.
Then I fail to understand your agitation, Miss McKay, over a rather antique prank.
Miss Brodie, there is a principle involved here. The principle that teachers are the protectors and guardians of their pupils. Guardians against corruption.
But it is arguable, is it not, where guardianship ends and interference begins? Once a girl reaches the age of 12, one must accept that nature itself assumes the role of corrupter.
One may accept, Miss Brodie, but one may not stampede the process. I submit, Miss Brodie, that your influence on your students has been both excessive and baneful.
There is very little for me to say, Miss McKay, in the face of your extraordinary prejudice and hostility.
I'm not asking you to say anything. I'm asking, no, demanding that you put your signature, your own signature, on a letter of resignation.
I will not resign.
You will not resign. You will force me to dismiss you?
I will not resign, and you will not dismiss me, Miss McKay. I will not allow you to exercise on me your warped compulsion to persecute. I will not be slandered, pounded, will not use the excuse of that pathetic, that humorous document to bully and blackmail me into resigning. Mr. Lowther, you are witness to this. Miss McKay has made totally unsupported accusations against my good name, and yours. If she has one authentic shred of evidence, just one, let her bring it forth. Otherwise, if any word of this outrageous calamity reaches my ears, I shall sue. I shall take Miss McKay to the public courts, and I shall sue the trustees of the Marshall Blaine School if they support her. I will not allow myself to be crucified by a woman whose fed frustration has overcome her judgment. If scandal is to your taste, Miss McKay, I shall give you a feast.
Miss Brodie.
I am a teacher. I am a teacher, first, last, always. Did you imagine for one moment that I would allow that to be taken from you without a fight? I have dedicated, sacrificed my life to this profession, and I will not stand by like an inky little slacker and watch you rob me of it. And for what reason? For jealousy? Because I have the gift of claiming girls as my own? It is true, yes, I am a strong influence on my girls. I am proud of it. I influence them to look for all the possibilities of life, of beauty, of honor, of courage. I do not, Miss McKay, influence them to look for the ugliness and slime where they do not exist. Now my girls will be returning to recreation quite soon. They will find me in my classroom composed and ready to reveal to them the succession of the stewards. And on Sunday, I will accompany Mr. Lowther to Kremen. We are accustomed, the bachelor and the spinster, to spend Sundays in sailing, in walking the beaches, and in the pursuit of music. Mr. Lowther is teaching me the mandolin. Good day, Miss McKay.
Oh, Jean, you were wonderful. Miss McKay wants to make it up.
I'm sure she does.
You were heroic. Heroic. It was inspiring. If only I could have stood up like that to Mr. Gaunt. If I could have said, Mr. Gaunt, if you have one authentic shred of evidence, just one.
What are you talking about?
Mr. Gaunt called on me the night before last. He advised me to resign as organist and headmaster elder of the church.
And what did you answer?
He left me no alternative, Jean. I resigned.
You allow this evil-minded man who uses his position as minister of the gospel to encourage the slanderous gossip of petty provincials.
Jean, it isn't just gossip. You do not go home on Sunday nights.
They have no proof. Can't you see that a resignation is tantamount to a confession of guilt?
I feel guilty.
Well, I do not.
Jean, it's been going on for so long. Can't you see I'm not cut out to be a philanderer?
A philanderer, Gordon.
Will you not marry me at last and put an end to all this sneaking about?
I was told to my face only today that you plan to marry the chemistry teacher.
I played golf with Miss Lockhart once.
Twice.
Twice.
Beware, don't trifle with her. She has the means to blow us all up.
Jean, Miss Lockhart means nothing to me. You know that. It's just that so much of the time now you are busy.
If only you would be persuaded to take a flat in Edinburgh.
I don't want a flat in Edinburgh. Kremen is my home. You know I cannot leave Kremen. I don't want to leave Kremen.
You want a great deal, do you not?
What I want mostly, Jean, is to see you happy and safe.
Safe? And what, pray, does safety have to do with happiness? I am not an admirer of Stanley Baldwin. Do run along, Lord. My class is almost due, and I need to compose myself.
I don't understand you. You will not marry me, yet you feed me and spend Sunday nights with me. I want to be your husband, and I'm sick and tired of all that rich, undomestic food. I want to go on my honeymoon in Athens in Greece, where my mother and father went on their honeymoon. And I want to come back to Kremen with my bride. That is what I want. And I wanted to conduct the church choir, too.
I was nearly run down in the hall by a young man just there. Rumors are abound. Did you get the sack?
On the contrary, Miss McKay experienced the utmost difficulty in persuading me to stay. I hear that you've been painting Jenny?
Yes.
I'm glad. Very glad. Because I've always sensed
Sensed what?
Jenny's potential. My own instincts are quite strong on this. I felt this possibility that she could become magnificently elevated above the ordinary run of lovers.
Of lovers?
She grows more and more beautiful each year. I see her becoming Venus incarnate, something set apart. You see it, don't you? You are an artist. You see things other men can't see. You must see it.
Jenny is an uncommonly pretty girl.
No, it is much more than that. She has extraordinary physical instincts, primitive and free.
Primitive, little Jenny. What are you up to, Jean?
The question is, what are you up to, Mr. Lowther? I'm only trying to tell you that I understand about Jenny. I've always known.
Known what?
Why, that one day you would paint Jenny.
Paint Jenny. Jean, sounds to me that you know exactly what you're talking about.
What I'm talking about.
You're trying to put that child in my bed in your place.
Don't be disgusting.
It's only the words that disgust you. You do not scoff at the thought, do you? Look at yourself using little Jenny and making old Lowther playhouse.
I do not use Mr. Lowther. As I will allow myself to be used. I have devoted myself to Mr. Lowther. I take every care of him. Cook for him.
Cook for him. Is that what you've called it? You've stuffed him like a Strasbourg goose. That's the place of loving him, is that it?
You understand nothing of what there is of love between Gordon and me.
Love. All those boring hours in bed with old Lowther. Did you enjoy yourself? That was good, Jean. That was the first real contact between us in 3 years.
Out. Get out of my class, my girls.
Your class, your girls, your camouflage. You know, Jean, you really ought to marry old Lowther and give you some kind of protection at least. Miss McKay will have your head on a platter.
I will prevail over Miss McKay. I will prevail over the malice of this institution.
Avail of yourself, Jean. Only yourself.
Girls, this is Mr. Lloyd. He teaches art at the senior school. If he is still at Barsham Lane in 3 years, you will receive the benefit of his artistic guidance.
Good afternoon, girls. I will see you in 3 years.
Yes, Mr. Lowther.
And good afternoon to yourself, Jean. I hope I will also be seeing you.
We will not do our history today. Rather, I shall continue the stories of my last holidays in Italy. Italy, where Mussolini has put an end to unemployment and there is no litter in the streets. I do not believe in talking down to children. I place some pictures upon the wall. Here is Benito Mussolini, Italy's leader supreme. And here, a large formation of Il Duce's Fascisti, Fascisti. And here, the famous picture of Dante meeting Beatrice on the Ponte Vecchio, the old bridge. He fell in love with her at that moment. He was a man in his middle years, and she was 14. That can happen. An old man can find love in a young girl, a very young girl, can find the spring and essence of all old loves. It is likely, though we shall never know, that Dante was reminded so sharply in that moment of an old love, a lost love, a sublime love, and he was seized with such a longing. That picture was painted by Dante Gabriel Rosietti. Who was Dante Gabriel Rosietti? Who was Dante Gabriel Rosietti?
A painter, Miss Brodie?
Yes, a painter. He was a painter.